All right, we're back, folks. Welcome in. Hope everyone is doing well. We are back right after roster cutdown day. More news, obviously, on the horizon. We're getting closer to the NFL season. Before we get to that, I'm just going to ask you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up button. Would really appreciate that. We're going to be touching on two topics in the Rams. First off, everybody cleared waivers for the Rams. So for you Rams fans out there, I have good news for you. Everyone cleared waivers for the LA Rams. If you're a Jets fan and you follow this channel, I have some bad news for you. 7 Jets were claimed. It was a league high. 7 Jets were claimed off of waivers. So the practice squad is going to look a little bit better for the Rams than it is for the Jets, because the Jets are going to have to find guys outside of the organization and maybe guys that they didn't necessarily plan on keeping to begin with, whereas the Rams have their pick of the litter. It's a clean slate. They have the ability to bring everyone back. I'm going to be following it along as we're live, and, as of right now, the Rams have already signed 3 guys to the practice squad, actually 4. Maximilian Percher automatically is on the practice squad. He's part of the international player program, so he automatically is added to the practice squad. Doesn't hurt against them, doesn't count against the 16. He's a 17th member. They, according to Jordan Rodriguez, have signed Roger Carter. They signed TJ Carter earlier, and they signed Daniel Isom. So 2 defensive backs and a tight end are now on the Rams practice squad. Let's just talk about it, though. No Jacob Harris, no Chris Garrett. None of these guys got claimed. Not saying I want them to get claimed, but doesn't it kind of make you wonder? Doesn't it kind of make you think, okay, here it is, whatever. This is what I'll say, okay? When you look at the Rams and you look at the Jets, the Rams are clearly the better team. But this was eye-opening. Folks, 31 teams rather, decided that the Jets had 7 players that were worth putting on the active 53-man roster. It really does speak volumes to why the Rams did cut Jacob Harris and Chris Garrett. Because simply put, the ceiling is there. Obviously, you talk about the talent. The talent is certainly there. But at the end of the day, are these guys going to help you win now? Are they going to help you? Are they the best of the 53? And I think ultimately, a lot of the time, we get caught up in the idea of, you know what? We're going to take a guy and we're going to look at his potential. And we're going to add the potential onto how good the guy is. I think I'm guilty of that. To be honest with you, you look at Jacob Harris, I think we're guilty of putting potential over what are you doing for me right now? Not what can you do for me later? What are you doing for me right now? And I think that's a big reason why he went unclaimed. I thought the Vikings were really the only team that made sense. And keep in mind, I don't think the Rams really do too much broadcasting of a guy like Jacob Harris or Chris Garrett, guys like that. They're smart about it. Well, they want these guys to get an opportunity. They're not putting them out there to blow up in preseason if they don't plan on bringing him back. I mean, that was the thing with Lance McCutcheon. It's why I was like, he's making way too much noise at this point. If they did plan on not keeping him, that's out the window. They're going to keep him. So I do think that's something to keep in mind moving forward and thinking about that. The Rams, he may be among Rams fans, Jacob Harris and Chris Garrett might be like these big names, right? Fan favorites, guys that you're very excited about. But if you really think about it, and I did a lot of thinking about this, if you really think about it, there were 31 other teams that passed on these guys entirely to put them on a 53-man roster. That does not mean these guys can't be good football players. It does, however, mean they are not good enough to be on an NFL 53-man roster as of right now. So the Rams will have a chance to bring back Jacob Harris and Chris Garrett. As always, we'll wait to hear how that goes because we've seen it in the past. Clay Johnston, the Rams want him back on the practice squad. He said, no, I'm going to go play for the Panthers. I'm going to sign there. My dad's there, all of that. So keep that in mind. That is always in play A guy might decide, hey, look, like, Micah Kaiser, for instance, he decided to go to the Broncos. Guys do decide to leave. It happens, and it's not always a thing that happens, but I definitely expect the Rams, who really like Jacob Harris and really like Chris Garrett, to bring them back on the practice squad. Would imagine they're ironing out the details now, but if you're just joining us, and appreciate you for joining, be sure to hit that like button if you haven't. If you're just joining us, I can report that 3 players have already been signed to the Rams practice squad, and that includes TJ Carter, the defensive back. That includes Daniel Isom, defensive back, and that also includes the tight end Roger Carter as well. So 2 Carters on the practice squad so far. If you are a Jets fan, today has not been the best day. While you can look at this, and I do think it confirms how good the Jets roster really is, because you cut 7 guys that got claimed in less than 24 hours. You lose Javelin Guidry. He goes to the Arizona Cardinals, gives them depth, good nickel corner. Chuma Edoga got claimed. Delshon Phillips got claimed by a good Ravens team that has linebacker depth. That's something to keep in mind. Jason Pinot goes to the New York Giants. Trayvon Wesco goes to the Bears. I feel like they don't have enough tight ends as it is. Don't they have like 10? Isaiah Dunn is going to Seattle, and Rashad Wild Goose also was claimed. But again, nobody the Rams let go was claimed. But does that speak more to the Jets roster? Or does that speak to the Rams roster? I think you can look at it in both ways. 2 things can be true. Both things can be true. The Rams side of things, the fact that, the Rams have a really good roster to the point where they had to cut guys like Jacob Harris, that speaks volumes to how good their roster is. But on the Jets side of things, they're cutting 7 guys that are claimed the next day to go on 53-man rosters. That's telling us that, hey, the Jets have a pretty good roster. So, I mean, I think that, you can look at it both ways. Shout out to Asim Rose. He just liked my tweet. AJ Rose Jr., I see you. He just liked my tweet of the projected practice squad that I had for the Rams. So that'll be interesting. We'll see. I really want Rose back. I think he's a good running back. I think he offers more than Funk does, who's actively on the 53. I think he's better than Regis, and I think he's better than Calais. So I would keep AJ Rose. We'll see where that goes, but not trying to rhyme there. But how's everyone doing? I haven't had a chance to really catch up with you guys. What's up, Ricky? Well, I did have some good news for you because no one got claimed. That doesn't mean no one will get signed, but no one got claimed. It is good news. Yes, everyone is eligible to be on the practice squad that the Rams were cut. Yep. Yeah. I was surprised too, Marv. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I understand, Jacob Harris is raw, but I was very surprised to see him not get claimed. Very surprised. But again, we'll see how it goes. Does he get added to another practice squad? We'll see. I saw the Seahawks claim Sean Mannion. Oh, they didn't claim him. They signed him to the practice squad. Kind of weird. That guy continues to get opportunities, but, is what it is. Brian, what's up? How we doing? What's up, Ronnie? I know we signed TJ Carter to the practice squad, but I hope we signed TJ Carter to the practice squad. Yeah, the defensive lineman. I like that joke. Yeah, so looking at this, the Rams, keep in mind, they didn't grab anybody, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Garrett goes on to the 53-man roster because don't forget, Daniel Hardy is not going to be on this 53-man roster. He's banged up. He's probably going to revert to the IR. So we'll wait to hear back on that. And we'll probably hear about that later, and I'll probably do another live stream or another video. But yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of stuff coming down the pipeline. This roster could change entirely, we'll definitely have to see about that. But very excited to see how this goes. And it just, once again, it just further states we're getting closer and closer and closer to the NFL season. And I cannot wait. I really cannot wait. I'm sure a lot of you can't wait either. It's just getting to be that point where, like, just super hyped and, can't really stress that enough. If you guys haven't already, be sure to hit the thumbs up. I know not a lot of people in here when I said that earlier. Just a reminder. I know a lot of you do. What happened to Quentin Lake? So Quentin Lake is on the physically unable to perform list. So Lake isn't going anywhere. He doesn't have to go anywhere. He is part of the long-term plans of the Rams at safety. Sean McVay confirmed that. He and Russ East are viewed as long-term pieces. We'll see if Russ East is going to get some playing time or not. I would imagine, like he said, long-term. But, yeah, those guys, they did not have to go through waivers. Lake, Traven Howard, Logan Bruss, none of those guys had to go through waivers or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about losing those guys. They're definitely going to be there. As far as news, not seeing really anything yet. I'll keep you updated. I figure we'll be live for, about an hour, and then we might go live later on tonight. Viewership has absolutely increased, Julio. Proud to say this is the biggest month of my entire existence on YouTube. We have can confirm, hold on a sec, can confirm Jacob Harris is re-signing to the Rams practice squad per Jordan Rodriguez. So Jacob Harris is back on the Rams practice squad. Let's see. I'll probably change the title. Rams signed Jacob Harris to practice squad. All right, cool. So Harris is back. But yeah, before I get into that, to answer your question, Julio, yes, the viewership has increased, record-setting, 500,000. Hear me out when I say this. We've registered 500,000 views in the month of August. I don't have any other words. I mean, you guys have just you've killed it. You guys have been so awesome. The fan base is outstanding, and it's just amazing, really. Before that, 228,000 was our most, and that was in the month of February when the Rams were in the Super Bowl. So to get 500,000 views, 500,000, it's ridiculous. Honestly, it's a sign of massive things to come for the channel, so I'm very excited about that. Julio, I am doing MCU Edge today. Didn't do it last week because I had all the travel, stuff going on. Went to the Yankee game, came back late. So, I'll do that tonight. Definitely be on there, 9:30 Eastern time. I just need to know where Lake is, man. Oh, yeah, I answered you already. That's right. Does the practice squad contract last all season, or can they leave whenever? So the way the practice squad works, for those of you who don't know, essentially the Rams have him on the squad. But it is technically like free agency. So if you've never played Madden before, because Madden kind of explains this, you can go through the process and it makes it easier to understand. But essentially, you can take a guy off the practice squad at any given moment throughout the year. However, they have now added the ability to protect players on the practice squad, but you have to understand that if Jacob Harris gets a contract offer from the Minnesota Vikings or whoever, right, whatever team wants to put him on their 53-man roster, if they do that, right, then it's up to him. If Jacob Harris says, you know what, no, I'm going to stay with the Rams. I like the Rams. I like the way it is here. I'm cool being on the practice squad. Then that's his prerogative. But if that is not the case, and he doesn't like being with the Rams, and this is just like, I'm here, but I'm open to going on a 53, then he can leave. And if he does decide to leave, then that's it. So you can sign anybody on a practice squad to a 53-man roster. But like I said, with the whole free agency thing, it is up to them to then decide to take that step. Some guys don't want it. They like taking the long game. They're willing to wait. They have the patience. If Jacob Harris has the patience, this is the best fit for him, in my opinion. But if he doesn't have the patience and a team comes calling and says, hey, we want you on our 53, we're going to give you a role in the offense, Jacob Harris then might take that opportunity. Now, the Rams would also have an opportunity to match it, because he can go to the Rams and be like, hey, this team is giving me this deal I am thinking about signing, but if you decide to bring me on to the 53-man roster, I won't sign it. That's another thing. So you'll see promotions, like a team is sniffing around and they're trying to make a deal. You'll see promotions off the practice squad when that stuff comes to fruition. So keep that in mind. That is a real thing. But yeah, that's how I would explain the practice squad. Big news early on about Jacob Harris. Love to see it. I'm a big fan of his. I think if you give him time to develop, he can be special. He's got a lot of potential, but it goes to show you the Rams made the right move. He clears waivers easily. No one claimed any Ram. They made the right move. Well, keeping Bobby Evans might not have, and I'm not going to get off that hill, but Jordan Rodriguez, her entire tweet was, Jacob Harris is re-signing to the Rams practice squad, source said. I would expect that he is among their priority call-up candidates, even while not on the 53-man, because of what he can do in all four phases of special teams. This is genius. And I totally agree with Jordan. That's a thing. Jacob Harris isn't just a really athletic freak that doesn't play special teams. Like, that's an actual problem in the NFL. You'll find is that I love your makeup here. I love that you're 6'4", you run a 4.3. Your body type. Like, you have a chance to be a star, but you can't play special teams. That's actually surprisingly not Jacob Harris's issue. Jacob Harris is probably a better special teamer than he is a wide receiver right now. So because of that, like Jordan mentioned, and I honestly forgot to mention, he can be called up from the practice squad week in, week out, and he can play on special teams and be an active participant. So the funny thing is, what the Rams did is actually genius, because if you don't realize it, they essentially were able to keep Lance McCutcheon on the 53, keep him inactive until they need him, and keep Jacob Harris on the practice squad and keep him active, because they think that Jacob Harris can offer more right off the rip on special teams. Not saying that's what they'll do, but they did open themselves up to that possibility, and that is smart planning. That is really good stuff, out of the Rams. Once again, really nice job with the roster management, and you got to give them credit. Really nicely done. Really like what they did there. Let's see here. So curious as to who you think gets cut once D. Hardy, Lake, and Brown revert back to the main roster. Yes, so, I think Jake Funk, maybe, maybe you keep just 3 running backs, and then you try to move Jake Funk. Jake Funk could be on the practice squad right now. I think that's somebody that would have cleared waivers. Maybe not. I think he would have. But anyway, so Funk is another one guy. Lance McCutcheon's another, because if you wait long enough, Lance McCutcheon doesn't have that recency bias of blowing up the preseason where, he might be easier to sneak onto the practice squad. Bobby Evans, you'd have to imagine he could get cut there. You know, I don't want to say Williams or Hoyt, but they'd probably be in the conversation. I don't know. I think Jake Hummel's good to go. I don't think they're going to cut him. I think Russ East could be in trouble, but we'll see. You know, they're going to have to make room. The Rams have a really good roster, and they're going to have to cut some really good players just to put Hardy, Lake, and Brown back on the roster. So keep that in mind. Sony Michel back in LA. Yeah, looks like he might sign a deal with the Chargers. That's what they're trying to get him. Shocker. The Chargers are trying to get a former Ram. Definitely haven't heard that before. He is a dog. You know, big fan of Quentin Lake. He's come on our show like 3 times, so we really like him. They might, you know, Blanton could be back on this practice squad. We'll see what ends up happening, but you know, my practice squad that I had for the Rams, I had AJ Rose, Jacob Harris, Austin Trammell, Roger Carter, AJ Arcuri, Chandler Brewer, Jeremiah Colon, Max Percher, Ernest Brown IV, Elijah Garcia, Chris Garrett, Benton Whitley, Jake Gervais, Grant Haley, Duran Lowe, Daniel Isom, and Dicker. Cameron Dicker, the kicker / punter. So we'll see. Yeah, he's got to compete. I like Hopkins. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you. Well, they're not going to... Waivers already passed, Marv, so they wouldn't be able to put a waiver claim on anybody. I mean, maybe guys that got cut today, but there's not really many. Absolutely. Appreciate that, Nick. Oh, boy. Well, hey, I appreciate the W's. The Rams can add 17. One of them is automatically because of the international player program with Maximilian Percher. But they have 16 like everyone else, and then they have 17. We got the MCU one tonight. I'll probably do a Rams Edge later on as well. So, just trying to figure out that Rams Edge schedule. Thank you, Marv. Now that we can look back in hindsight and say Harris probably should have been a 7th rounder or UDFA, I still understand why they picked him when we did, but he's probably where he belongs for now at least. I agree. I had him as a 7th round grade, was not really a fan when they first got him, and then I kind of talked myself into him like I normally do when I go through, watch the film again, and try to see how he, you know, could be utilized in the offense. And I did the same thing with Atwell. I had a 6th round grade on Atwell, but you know what? I'll say this. I think Jacob Harris does not need to contribute this year as a receiver, and he doesn't need to contribute next year. Because the Rams signed Allen Robinson for 3 years. They have Cooper Kupp signed for, 5 more years? They have Tutu Atwell, who was just a rookie last year. Ben Skoranek, just a rookie last year. Brandon Powell, who we'll see if he gets brought back after the season. He's on a 1-year deal. I'd imagine he might. And then Lance McCutcheon. So he doesn't have to be thrown into the role. He's actually setting himself up for an easy transition for a second contract where, you know, he doesn't make enough noise for another team to take him in free agency and the Rams just scoop him and sign him to another deal. They might be playing the long game with him, kind of like they did with Noteboom. They didn't make Noteboom the starter until after. They didn't make the Noteboom the starter until after his time. So that's worth mentioning. It feels that way. Harris still needs development. He's a soccer player before football. It's probably why he's so good on special teams, if you want to be honest. Can I get your honest observation on Kendrick and Durant? Yes. So, you know, I like them both a lot. I think they got a lot of potential. I think they're both going to be big time. Darion Kendrick is somebody I've grown to like a lot more than I did in the draft. I really like Jacoby Durant, you know, before and even now. I think he can play the nickel. I think he also has some outside potential, but I think he could be your starting nickel if you wanted him to. You know, this is somebody that he's got great, speed. He's not the biggest corner, but he's feisty, and he does a really nice job of tracking the ball. So I think he's a little bit more of an ankle biter as a tackler, but he does have the wherewithal and he does have the stamina, and I would also say, I mean, he has the desire to tackle, but he's not the tackler that Darion Kendrick is. I think Kendrick at this point might be a little ahead of Jacoby Durant. Jacoby Durant has a higher ceiling. It's one of those things. Durant has a higher ceiling, but I think he can also help you. Kendrick has a higher floor. I think he's more polished as a corner, definitely a better tackler, and I'm expecting big things out of him. If and when he gets thrown into the fire. Leatherwood to the Bears, yes, good pickup by them. They definitely needed the help on the offensive line. Makes a lot of sense. No complaints there. The Winnie the Pooh movie is surely not going to have legal issues with Disney. It won't, because the public domain is up. It's in the public domain now, so anybody can make content about Winnie the Pooh, which looks absolutely hilarious. Yes, great news. Kendrick and Durant are going to make some noise on this team. I think they could. Staff loves Bobby Evans just like Jake Funk for whatever reason. I'm going to give you more analysis because I feel like I've been a little too emotionally driven with the whole Bobby Evans thing. I can see why they kept him. It's literally the only reason why they kept him is for experience. Okay, now I've actually given you analysis because I realized I was like, no, this is ridiculous. But in reality, if you think about it, the reason they kept Bobby Evans is because they valued his experience over R. Curry's, long-term ceiling. And I don't know how big of a ceiling, R. Curry has, but that's why. I would imagine he'll be on the practice squad. They'll sign him, all of that. But, let's see. Jets fans, Chris Streveler is back with the Jets. Preseason hero indeed. So good for him. Yeah, I don't. Nothing's come up yet for the Rams. Just the players that we listed earlier, and Jacob Harris. Yeah, I'm a little surprised as well, but not complaining. Exactly, public domain. I'm very glad McCutcheon made the 53. Has a lot of potential. Yeah, I'm very happy for him as well. I like him. I know Les Snead mentioned that he probably won't be an active guy, and he'll be somebody that is on the 53 that they keep there, but he'll be inactive on game days. We'll see. I really like Hummel. Yeah. Rams secondary is very deep. Like I've said before, guys, if you guys have been following me, the Rams secondary, this is the best Rams secondary in recent memory. I think this has been in the 2018 roster. I think this team is the best in recent memory because I went on record and said last year the only thing that made last year's team arguably better than 2018, the Super Bowl team, was Matthew Stafford. But if you really look, I think the 2018 team was better. This team, I feel like, is better than 2018. Durant is a baller. Seems that way. I temper your expectations on that one. He's probably not even going to be active to start the season. So, Rod, I don't want you to get your hopes up there because Lance McCutcheon's awesome. Really excited to have him, but he's still got development to do. He's a rookie. He's a UDFA. He might not see any snaps this year. Jacob Harris didn't last year. Tutu Atwell didn't last year. Ben Skoranek had to scratch and claw and had all those injuries happen to see him. I don't know. I mean, everybody should be trying to replicate what we do with a standard of success as much as people want to pretend we're not. So Staley doing his best to clone our roster is genius. Seems that way. Yeah, he's just got to develop, you know. Definitely can't push him out there. Don't throw him in the fire. Develop him. So Daniel Hardy has to move to the 50, off the 53 and onto the short-term IR soon, according to Jordan Rodriguez. They're signing Benton Whitley per source to the practice squad. So Benton Whitley has made the Rams practice squad now. I don't know much about it. I saw the whole Dolphins thing going around. I don't really buy too much into that, but I think he'll get a deal eventually. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he went to the Raiders, and the Raiders really didn't know how to use him. I think the Rams knew how to use him. I thought he had a good fit. We'll see what he does with Carolina. What's up, Isaac? How we doing? You didn't miss a ton. Just that Jacob Harris is coming back on the Rams practice squad. They just signed Benton Whitley. They signed T.J. Carter. They signed Daniel Isom. They signed Roger Carter. So, what's up, Hilltop? Yeah, I don't get that. I definitely don't get that. Lamar should get whatever he wants. He could. He very well could. I like Jordan Fuller a lot, so, you know, we'll see. Yeah, I really think with the two tight ends, it will be interesting. I expect them. By the way, the Chargers are officially signing Sony Michel per Fowler of ESPN. So that's done. Sony Michel is a Charger. But what I was going to say is with the two tight ends, let's wait a little bit here because they are eventually going to have to add, you know, Daniel Hardy, the short-term IR. They had to keep him on the roster to make sure he could play this year. You know, but they do have to put him on short-term IR because he's not going to be able to play for a minute. And if you have a guy on IR, that's the thing. If you have a guy on IR and you want to designate them to return, they have to be on the 53-man roster. Like, the new league year has started and the regular season is here, and he had to be on the roster for a day in order for them to allow him to play later on in the year. So he's on the 53. He's going to be added on the short-term IR. What that's going to do is it's going to open up a spot. It's going to allow the Rams to either decide between adding, you know, a guy like Chris Garrett to the roster, you know, who would fill that void, or keep this in mind, they could look at one of these guys that went unclaimed. O.J. Howard is available. So if they want to get another tight end in the room, because like you're saying, you know, God forbid anybody gets hurt, they could go out and get O.J. Howard. They could go out and get Dalton Keene, Ryan Izzo. I mean, these are tight end names that I think, you know, they could definitely go out and get. Talk about Kendall Blanton. Maybe they add him back. We'll see. But those are definitely guys. What is Stafford's trade value? I don't even know, man. That's hard to justify. I mean, they would never trade him, so. But I don't really know. Yeah, well, I don't look too much about that. I mean, you could, but they're not going to do that. OJ Howard signed with the Bengals? Did he really? I thought they claimed a guy. Oh, yeah, okay. He had a visit with them. I don't know if he signed yet, but I see that he had a visit. No, do intend to sign him. It's done. It's done. Sony Michel is definitely going to be a Charger. So that's done. He's not getting cut. Like, fans need to understand Ben Skoranek, whether you like him or not, like, he is a valuable player for them. They're not cutting him. Man, I love sneezing on live streams. Definitely not sarcasm. All right, OBJ will be 3 receiver when healthy. We'll see. We'll see. Let Hendo and Williams get it. You breathe on Cam. He gets injured. Rams must really like their young cornerbacks. They kept 2 on the taxi squad. Can't help but wonder if they don't want the rest of the league to take one. Yeah, I said it. I mean, they have a lot of talent, and they weren't able to bring back those guys on the 53 because they drafted 2 guys. They have David Long, they have Robert Rochelle, they have Jalen Ramsey and Troy Hill. Like, it's one of the best cornerback rooms I've seen. And so that doesn't mean that they didn't like the guys that were competing, and I think that we're seeing that here. I don't know if Stafford's ever going to get the respect he deserves, but I think if he wins another ring, it'll go up more. I still haven't gotten over. So Darius Leonard of the Colts, like one of the best linebackers in football, he changed his name to Shaquille Leonard, and I'm not going to get over that. Anytime I see his name show up on my feed, I just do not think of him. It's like a different. Wait, I think Aaron Wilson just reported the Rams signed TJ Carter to the practice squad. And if I'm reading the tea leaves here, because he already reported it earlier, that sounds like the defensive lineman. So it looks like they signed both TJ Carters. We won't know until we have confirmation, but it looks like they signed both TJ Carters to the practice squad, which is kind of funny. Yes, I love Todd Gurley. Gurley did not play in SoFi, no. Yeah, exactly. Very good special teamer. I definitely agree with you. Are you talking about Spiller? I don't know. I mean, he's young. It was preseason. I like Spiller. We'll see. I probably read that wrong. LOL, it was one of the first things I saw in the newsfeed when I woke up. That's fair. Thank you. Appreciate that. Eric Yarber will get Ben Skoranek ready. Could see that. Missed my other comment, but I was saying, can we sit Cam out, save him for the end of the season? I mean, like I said, you can, but I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine them doing that. I just don't think that's a logical thing for them to do, because he's already healthy, and he was a full participant in practice, with Henderson. So I just can't for the life of me see them doing that. Who's on the last year of their contract, and who do you expect not to come back? I mean, well, you have the guys from the 2020 class, right? So, Taylor Rapp, Darrell Henderson was from, 2019, sorry. The 2019 class. You had Darrell Henderson in the third round, Taylor Rapp in the second, Nick Scott, all those guys, their contracts are up. Brandon Powell's contract, John Wolford, those are all, those guys are on one-year deals. So, something to keep in mind moving forward. Jake, we all know Super Bowl 53 is history, but do you think the Rams win that game if they had Cooper Kupp? Yeah, I do, actually. No, can't forget about Rochelle. Really like where Rochelle is at. Thought he had his best preseason game week 2, and then that's why they didn't even play him week 3. I think as long as Barkley's healthy, he can be a great running back, so I don't think he's done. Feels that way. I mean, Taylor Rapp is pretty solid, but I hear you. I mean, I'd like to see him take the next step for sure. Yes, if TJ Carter is back, if both TJ Carters are on the roster, Alexis is going to lose it. Still waiting to hear back on the Rams practice squad. A little slower on the practice squad signings than others. Wouldn't rule it out. I'm not expecting them to be the top defense, but I wouldn't rule them out being a really good defense. They just didn't decide to bring him back. A lot of talent at corner. I just don't think that, he probably would not have made this roster. So I liked him too, no doubt. Well, they're not cutting Rapp. They might trade him, but I don't even see that because he didn't even play in preseason, so they clearly like him. Yeah. Well, cap casualty is when you cut a guy because you don't want to pay his cap hit, or you trade him. Rapp is just a free agent next year, at the end of this year. So, I see what you're saying, though. Ravens cut 2020 third-round pick Tyree Phillips. I didn't like the pick when they made it. How long do we have Burgess signed till, and what's the deal with him? So, rule of thumb, when it comes to draft picks, you get 4 years. So, since Burgess was drafted in the 2020 class, he would be a free agent after next year, so 2024. 2023 free agency would be all the 2019 class. 2024 free agency would be all the 2020 class. The thing with the Rams is that they don't have first-round picks. So you don't have to worry necessarily about, a player, not being in that class because the first rounders, you'd have a chance at a fifth-year option, so it would push him back another year. But yeah, all of the Rams picks from here on out, 4 years is the rule of thumb. Nick Scott's contract, it's up next year. That's 4 years after he was drafted in 2019. 2020, like Bryson Hopkins and, all those guys, that will be 2024. And 2021 draft, so the draft we just had last year, Tutu Atwell's deal is up in 2025. See, I hope that explained things, because that can get a little murky and hard to explain, but do you think Darrell Henderson is a fantasy sleeper? I do, because where he's getting drafted is ridiculous. I mean, he has a chance to be better than, Cam Akers this year. Now, I think it's going to be a running back by committee, but when you look, that guy gets touchdowns. And he stays on the field because he can pass protect. Something to keep in mind. I don't know. I don't get the vibe they're about to make a trade, but I mean, I didn't get the vibe they were going to get Von Miller either, so who knows? Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. We're at 56. If you are on your TV, whether it's a Roku, an Apple TV, or whatever, be sure to just slide up and you can hit the thumbs up button. If you're on mobile and you're in the chat, you just have to scroll out of the chat and hit the thumbs up underneath the video. And if you're on your computer, well, it's right smack dab in front of you, right below the video. So really would appreciate it if everyone could hit that thumbs up. Would mean a ton to me. As long as you're enjoying it. If you're not enjoying this video, then no need to do that. I understand. 80 should have been the number one player. I agree. Yeah, I mean, Cam, I'm iffy on too. Everyone talks about Henderson's injuries, but Cam has literally been in the league for 2 years, not even played a full season. He's played one full season. And he's had a rib cartilage injury, he's had a high ankle sprain, and he's had a torn Achilles. It's a lot of baggage for a guy that's barely been in the league. So, that's tough. I'd probably just go with the Rams defense because I think... Actually, I don't think it's that tough. I'd go with the Rams defense. I think when you look at Tre'Davious White being out, the Bills are susceptible to getting beat over the top. I think that's a real thing. So that's what I'll say. That's my thought process. Yeah, that's brutal. In the hundreds? Damn. Maybe. I wouldn't, rule it out. Yeah, I saw that. Looks like they're changing their menu. He has a chance to be a beast. I think it's fair to question how good he truly can be because, it's what have you done for me lately? And, I like him. I hope he does well, but I'm cautious about him. I agree. I definitely think the defense could be tremendous. See, I don't really agree with that because the stats would show that he's not, and he doesn't pass protect on the level of Henderson. That's my biggest complaint about Cam Akers is that he does not pass protect on the level of Henderson. At this moment, no. I mean, I just want to see what they do with the practice squad. I want to see what they do with the 53-man roster, who they decide to keep, I mean, I would cut Bobby Evans. I would sign Boba and Schwal, but, I'm not the GM. So at this point, I don't think that they have to do anything. Thank you so much, Don, for donating. Really appreciate that. I think the popular fan wish is a reunion with Quinn. But trade package aside, could we even fit his contract with our current cap? Yeah, because the Bears know they'd have to take on that deal. If they want to move him, they'd have to take on the deal. They'd want more picks, all of that. First touchdown of the season, I feel like it's going to be Tutu Atwell. Deep bomb over the top, Tutu Atwell. He did, but, and that's great, but he needs to improve his game. And he needs to stay healthy. I like him, but he was dreadful in the postseason. Valiant effort, but they do not win the Super Bowl if they do not have Darrell Henderson. He had 4 catches that were monumental in that moment, moving the chains. So, I mean, I think you need both. He's just not very good, man. I'm gonna be real. He's got severe balance issues. He got run over all of preseason. I just don't see it getting any better. If you're getting run over in preseason, how is that going to get any better in the regular season? But really, the balance issues is my biggest issue. And I think he's more built where you would expect more power behind him, and he doesn't move anybody back. He doesn't have any drive. He's just, I just don't think he's that great. He's a guard, too. He's not a tackle. But I don't know. Or sorry, he's a tackle, not a guard. But I don't know. I don't think, at this point, kind of over it. Because I think they're a lot better than the Niners. I really like Trey Lance, and I think Trey Lance is going to prove a lot of people wrong. But at the end of the day, I do think the Rams have a lot better, they have a way better roster than the 49ers do. That's just the facts. Well, you wouldn't sign him. You'd have to trade for him. And, I mean, it would cost a lot, so not really sure on that front. I guess it's a wait-and-see approach. If the edge, the Rams need a little injection in the edge room, then okay. But it's not really a guarantee at that point, And so I think it's a wait-and-see approach. If the Rams need it, they know it's there. They can trade for a guy like that. But I don't know, man. It seems that way. I have 34-24 Rams. I think they're the better team. I think without Tre'Davious White, the secondary is going to be susceptible to getting beat by guys like Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson, Tutu, etc. And so, I really think that the Rams are the better team and they should win that game. Could help them. It definitely could. They have a decent record, I thought, though. So, I don't know. It should hold up against the Bills. Breaking news, the Eagles are trading Jalen Reagor to the Vikings for a 7th-round pick in 2023 and a 2024 conditional 4th-round pick. So, the Vikings have acquired former first-round pick Jalen Reagor in a trade. Breaking news. And that is according to Jordan Schultz, my buddy, who's really done a nice job. No, Jalen Reagor. Minnesota Vikings. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I mean, I definitely think, the Rams will try to slow down Allen. I don't know how well it'll work, but, we'll see. Multiple teams are showing interest for practice squad linebacker Chaz Surratt. 3rd-round pick in 2021, waived by the Vikings. That's interesting. Something to keep an eye on, I guess. Yeah, I really like him. Yep, that's what I said. No offensive lineman on the practice squad yet, except for Max Percher. You tagged me in something? I didn't see it. Yeah, I don't see anything. What's up, Michael? Appreciate it, brother. So, guys, that's all I got for now. We'll wait until more news comes out. Oh, you just sent it to me? I didn't get anything. Appreciate that. Yes, I'm glad Harris is back too. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I'm gonna head on out of here, and there'll be more news later, so I'll go live again. But I appreciate everyone. There's only one guy, Percher, from the International Player Program. They haven't signed anybody yet. But I'm gonna head on out of here. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out. Really appreciate that. And that's gonna do it for me. So I'm looking to go live later on, talk about the practice squad when it's finalized for both teams. And that's gonna do it. So appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.